Hello, everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my great short story series. We are on short story 38, My Daughter the Fox by Jackie Kay. My Daughter the Fox gives you an unusual view of the mother-child relationship. As the title suggests in the story, the narrator's daughter isn't human, but the feelings generated between mother and daughter are universal, creating a story that is basically a kind of a paradox. So as we read, we're going to talk about that paradox, and we're going to look at language for describing people, animals, other things. We're going to look at how language is used to create that special paradox and talk about the deep feelings that are being described. So that is a little bit about the class. And no one is here, Daniel, so let's just start reading. What do you think?
Good morning, John.
So,
What a mic.
what's the mic?
New mic.
No, it's the same one as the other day. Just today it works.
Okay.
Let's see if I can get this on screen. I'll put the story on screen. 1 second. Yes, it's because Windows is a big mess.
Okay.
I couldn't see which microphone was selected. It's just because of that. And I had 2 microphones break at the exact same time. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so let's see if I can share my screen with you. There we go. So, Daniel, what do you think? It's just the 2 of us, and maybe 1 or 2 viewers out there. Should we, I wanted to, before we go on, I wanted to talk about the beginning of the story a little bit. So
Okay.
I put a few questions there for you. But I'm also a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried that we don't have enough people in the short story
Yes.
class.
It's strange.
Because I can't have less than about 3, or
Yeah.
it creates problems. So I don't know what to do about that. We have to think about it. Because I can't really advertise. I can put up an ad, but there's no way to. It's really difficult to advertise the class to people who have not been in the class. If I know you, if you're there, I can find you in the system. But I can't really advertise it to new students, so I don't know what to do. Anyway, I guess for today we'll just forget about it. Take a look here on page 6. And maybe we can use these questions to sort of recap some of what we've read so far. I'm going to see if I can make this just a little bit bigger for you. And so what do you think? Now that you know the narrator gave birth to an animal, can you imagine her initial reaction when she discovers that her daughter is not human? How does the midwife react to it? Remember, we're talking about midwives. Do you remember what a midwife is in the story?
Yeah, it's a woman. It's about to give birth or have a baby. Has a baby.
Well, the mother is the one giving birth, but the midwife, what's she doing?
Take care a baby.
Almost.
Give him milk from.
Midwife? No.
No. I don't know.
I'll put a link.
The age of the wife. Midwife. I don't know.
No. Let's see if I can get a link there. Midwife is when you don't have a doctor, You have a midwife.
Ah, okay. Matrona in Spanish. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't understand the other day. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see if I can quickly give you a link to. What a weird. Why did that come up? Let's see. I'll put a link there. And you can even see it right on the screen now. One skilled in caring for young children or the sick, usually under the supervision of a physician. So the midwife, especially in the old days, although they exist today, it's when you don't have a doctor, but you have a woman who has experience with childbirth. And so she's the one who delivers the baby.
Yes.
So what do you think the reaction, I mean, from what you read, what do you think the reaction was for the narrator and for the midwife when her daughter was born? Based on the characters, based on the description, what do you imagine happened?
Uh, Maybe they were amazed or threatened.
Threatened.
Threatened. Yes.
Why? You think the fox was going to kill them? Why would they be threatened?
Scared.
Scared.
Scared. Yes.
Uh,
They were scared because I think the baby pet had much hair and maybe an animal eyes. I don't know. Uh,
well, the baby is described as a regular fox. She's just a fox, right?
mhm.
So, what would your reaction be when you had your kids if it was not a human baby but a fox?
I would run. I would run.
Really?
Yeah.
I would say that's cool.
No, no,
And
no.
I'd shoot some video and put it on YouTube for everyone to see. That's what I would do.
It's
Okay.
when being human is born. It's we are really ugly. Purple color, uh, strange head.
Yeah?
If I almost I almost run, but maybe if a woman is giving birth a little fox,
It probably would be easier.
it's here. Yes, yes.
They're shaped in a better way to get out, I think. So maybe it's easier.
I
Uh,
suppose it's metaphoric, no?
I think so.
I hope.
But in the story, it's described very realistically. Actually, we're going to read about the birth
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
just a second.
Very good description about
So,
the act.
so what do you think the metaphor is? We've only read the first section, or the first two sections. So if it's a metaphor, what do you think the metaphor is about?
I cannot imagine the metaphor. I don't know, maybe if be careful with your future child father.
Exactly. Find out a little more about the man.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I think what's interesting, the metaphor for me is about how in the first two parts of the story that we read so far, I guess there's no language between the two of them, but it's about the relationship without the words because she seems to I mean it's her daughter too, right? So she seems to feel very close, and there's no real language between the two of them because you can't really speak, you know, you're a child at that age doesn't have language either. So I guess the metaphor is something like that.
Yeah.
The the
Okay.
rela- the relationship without words,
Yeah.
and the understanding. I mean, we don't really see the daughter's behavior yet. A little bit.
I always say, baby,
Mm-hmm.
from 0 to 1 years is like a puppy, a baby animal. His behavior is crying for food,
Just
or
like my cat.
yeah, yeah.
So I wonder if the metaphor is the strange feeling that the mother has. I mean, the author. I don't know anything about the author. I just know she's a contemporary writer, but I don't know about her experience. But I guess the universal part is how she feels at once like you're describing. This is a human being, but it's also kind of like an animal, and it's like this yeah, like I said earlier, a paradox or a conflict between the two feelings.
Yes.
So
Be
I think
careful. Be careful when a woman is just gave birth, because it's like a like a wild animal.
who's like the wild animal, the woman or the baby?
No, no, the woman, behavior woman. Yes.
What do you mean?
because
You get attacked.
because her she tried to protect her baby,
Hmm.
and you have to treat her
Hmm.
carefully. And then it's animal behavior. A woman just gave birth.
I'm gonna write that down in my notebook for the
Yeah,
future.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Be
Now I know.
careful.
All right. Well, oh, last question here. What about the father? What would you assume about the father of the daughter in the story? I mean, do you remember how he was described?
More or less, it's mm, um
Let's see if we can find it quickly too.
no good, no no a very good person.
Yeah, let's see if I can just
They
find. Here it is.
she compare him like a fox.
Yeah, I think it's here on page. I don't know what page. Page. eh,
Sure.
oh no, no, yeah, yeah. It's above page. Page 4. Let's see. I just had it. There it is. The only thing I knew that the only thing she shared with her father was her red hair. Apart from that, she was mine. I swear I could see my own likeness in her pointed chin, in her high cheeks, in her black eyes. I'd hold her up in front of me, her front paws framing her red face, and say, "Who's Mummy's girl?" Did we read that part? I guess
No,
maybe
no,
we did. No,
no,
we didn't read part 2. I think we did. No,
no,
maybe we
no,
did.
no.
Oh,
Only
okay.
part one up to the birth.
But we read this part of part 2 because I remember she talks about the father here.
Mm-hmm.
Her father was a
Slime.
foxy man, sly and devious. I found out later he was already seeing 2 other women when he got me pregnant that night under the full moon. And we know that he has red hair.
Okay.
So, is the father human?
I think so.
Seems like it.
Yes.
But he's got
Because she said foxy man,
foxy
not
man.
only foxy animal.
Right, okay. So we don't get the idea that he's some kind of creature. But he's got red hair, so maybe that's important. Certain authors like to use, I'm thinking of like Charles Dickens or someone, certain authors use fiction kind of far away. His hair is like a fox, and he's a foxy man. So we'll come back to that later and see if that's important. Also, I'm curious to see what the narrator, how she describes herself, because she says she sees her likeness in her daughter, and her daughter is not human. So I wonder what that means exactly. Do you think the mother is human?
Yeah,
I wonder if she's something else.
at the moment, I think it's a human
Well,
being, a being human, but we'll see.
we'll find out. All right, I think we began part 2 because I remember reading this, and I don't know exactly where we stopped. So, did you read any more of this? Where did you stop? In the class, or did you go forward?
No, I read in the class.
All right. So, give me just a second here. All right. Well, so we didn't read all of part 2, right?
No.
Okay. Well, I think we stopped here at the end of this paragraph.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So, why don't we just take turns, and we'll see if we can do parts 2 and 3, maybe 4 if we get to it. And I'll ask a few questions along the way if I can make it easier. You ask me if you're not sure, and let's just do it. So, take it away, Daniel.
When the little blue mark came, of course it couldn't tell me I was carrying a fox, just that I was pregnant. And even the scans didn't seem to pick anything up, except they couldn't agree whether or not I was carrying a girl or a boy. One hospital person seemed sure I was carrying a son. It all falls into place now, of course, because that could have been her tale. Once they told me the heart was beating fine and the baby seems to be progressing, but that there was something they couldn't pick up. She was born on the stroke of midnight, a midnight baby. When she came out, they stern Jamaican midwife, who had been calm and in control all during the contractions, saying, "Push now, that's it and again," let out a blood-curdling scream.
Blood
Blood,
curdling.
blood-curdling
Curdling.
scream. I thought my baby was dead, but not. Midwives don't scream when babies are stillborn. They are serious. They whisper. They scream when foxes come out a woman.
C-word.
Huh?
C-word.
C-word.
Yeah, because we're not going to say the bad words here.
Ah, okay. Woman's thought. That's for sure. My poor daughter was terrified. I could tell straight away. She gave a sharp bark and put her to my breast and let her suckle.
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 What a baby does at the breast.
Ah,
I'll put a few links here so we have definitions for later. Blood curdling. Do you know what that means? Blood curdling scream.
uh,
Do you know what it means to curdle something?
to curdle. No.
Milk will curdle. If you heat it up fast, milk will curdle. And actually, that's how you make yogurt. If you heat up milk.
Okay. It's a stage, or it's not a liquid, no?
Yeah, right.
It's
That's exactly right.
almost I don't know what to say,
It's solid.
but I am solid, solid. Okay.
So, a blood-curdling scream is when you're so shocked, or the sound of the scream is so shocking that it turns your blood into
Okay.
yogurt.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Blood-curdling scream. Do you have an expression like that in Spanish?
Yes, yes, yes.
What do you say?
But blood, cold blood.
What's the expression in Spanish?
Ok.
Frío?
Se me quedó la sangre helada.
Sangre
Helada.
lada?
Helada. Helado. Cold.
Oh,
Freeze.
lado.
Freeze.
Can you write it for me in the chat window? I'm just
Yes.
curious. So I can compare. Because we can say sangre helada. Helada. Ah. Oh, gelada. Got it. Like
Helada. Yeah.
in Portuguese we say gelada.
Yes.
To freeze your blood. Got it. Oh, that's interesting.
Mm.
So, sangre helada is blood curdling.
That's cuddling. Okay.
Um,
Yes, when suddenly someone gives you a
yeah, startles you. Startles.
startles.
Yeah, like this in the chat window. Someone startles. Whoops. When someone startles you. You can also say gives you a start. Start does not mean begin here. Start means to be afraid, to scare.
Okay.
And I'm going to make a little note here about the midnight part. So my question is, why is midnight important? Or I should say, an important detail.
It's the relate of the moonlight.
Yeah, I think so too. So
But
it's a
it's
stroke
not
of midnight.
it's not a wolf. It's a fox.
True. So why would the author include midnight? Why is that important? Again, it's got to be. I think it has a certain metaphor too. So what do you think? For me, I think about what midnight is. Is midnight day? Is midnight night?
Night.
But is it? Because the clock turns to the morning calendar, the morning, not calendar, the morning anti-meridian in English, AM. It turns, we call that the morning. So midnight is a kind of a boundary between two different times of day.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that's significant here? Do you think there's a metaphor?
The pass of the
Hmm?
I don't know, the pass from the human to animal.
Maybe, I mean, I'm thinking midnight is that border between day and night.
Mm.
It's exactly both. It's not one, it's not the other. Because at 12:01 it's morning, and 11:59 it's night. And maybe that is somehow metaphorical because it's a midnight baby, so it's a mixture of two things, just like midnight is a mixture of two things. I don't know, this is just what comes to mind. And also, midnight is a mysterious time. Horror movies don't take place during the day, usually. Maybe more modern ones do. But if you go see a horror movie, generally it's at night, in the middle of the night, when our imagination plays games with us, right?
Something fantastic.
Exactly.
Strange.
So it's the time of day when strange things can happen. So it seems significant that it's a midnight baby.
Maybe we'll need a big storm or thunder.
Yeah, it doesn't say. I don't know what time of year it is or what the weather's like, but yeah, I can imagine. It was midnight,
Mm.
exactly when the lightning struck the hospital. Uh, let's see. And I like the fact that the midwife gives out a blood-curdling scream, right? I thought my baby was dead, but no, midwives don't scream when babies are stillborn. They are serious. So if there was a real problem, the midwife would have said nothing. They scream. I can't repeat the line, but it's pretty funny. I can't say the bad words, but anyway. They scream when they're startled. So the midwife is obviously not expecting this. I'll go into the next section here.
Okay.
It's something I've learned about mothers. So she's saying the daughter is scared. Well, the daughter is the fox and is scared and gives a bark. And she pulls the daughter close to her breast. It's something I've learned about mothers. When we are loved, we are not choosy. Well, I guess she wasn't expecting to have a fox as a child. So she's okay with it. She's not choosy. We'll go back to what choosy means in just a second.
Okay.
I knew she was devoted to me from the start. It was strange. So much of her love was loyalty. I knew that the only thing she shared with her father was red hair. Apart from that, she was mine. I swear I could see my own likeliness in her pointed chin, her high cheeks, and in her black eyes. I'd hold her up in front of me, her paws framing her red face, and saying, "Who's Mummy's girl, then? Who's Mummy's girl?" Let's say a quick hello to, I can't see the name, Wa Yono? Hello, Wa? Hello, Wa? Are you there? Yono? Yono Wa? Wa Yono? Hello, hello? Do you see someone, or am I just hallucinating, Daniel?
No. I I see. WAH.
That's right. I'll put a little message. Hello, Wa Yono? Are you there? And then, if you can't speak, oh, webcam. Now we get a picture. I don't know who that is. Maybe it's not Wa. It says Wa. So anyway, what do you think about this line? We are
It's
not choosing.
it's a very real sentence.
Yeah?
When a mother is in love about child, even if her child is ugly or skinny or whatever, she will love forever.
We lost Mr. or Mrs.
In
Wa.
this case, uh, she doesn't she doesn't mind if her new baby is a fox or a human being.
Okay, very good. I agree. So the important thing is like this. It's like this, at least for me, again, it's this thing about there's no words. Everything kind of happens, and it's all very mysterious. So she instinctively, maybe that's a good word, instinctively loves the child.
Yes.
Let's say hello to, again, Wa, Yono, or Yono Wa. Hello?
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Sorry. I can listen you very well here. Maybe any problem with Google Hangout?
I hear you. I can hear you. We can hear you perfectly.
Pardon me?
Yes.
We hear you. The sound is good for us.
Oh, like that. Okay.
And what's your name?
My name is Wahyono.
Wahyono. Okay. Where are you from?
I'm from Indonesia.
From Indonesia. Okay, excellent. Okay, So, Wayano, we're in the middle of a story that we began in the last class last Thursday. We just began the story, actually. We're not in the middle, we're in the beginning. And so we're each going to take turns reading and discussing the story. If you want the link, it's always there in the class material, but I'll also put it for you in the chat window so you can open the story in your computer and see it better, okay?
Oh,
There you go in the chat window. So why don't you follow along for a moment, and then I'll give you a chance to read next, okay?
I can listen sound. Well,
All right, so Daniel, why don't you continue, and then we'll give Wa a chance to... Yes, I need to just mute you for a second. Okay, go ahead, Daniel.
I was crying when she was first born. I'd heard that many mothers do that, cry straight from the beginning. Not because she wasn't what I was expecting. I was crying because I felt at peace at last, because I felt loved, and even because I felt understood. I didn't get any understanding from the staff of the hospital. They told me I had to live straight away. The fox was a hazard. It was awful to hear about my daughter being spoken of in this way, as if she hadn't just been born, as if she didn't deserve the same consideration as the others. They were all quacking and shucking like it was the most disgusting things they had ever seen.
Be careful of the pronunciation here. They were all quaking and shaking.
Okay. Quaking and shaking like it was the most disgusting thing they had ever seen. She hasn't even given one of those little ankle bracelet name tags I'd been so looking forward to keeping all her life. I whispered her name into her alert ear. Anya, oh Anya,
Anya.
Anya, Anya, I said. I'll call you Anya. It was the name I'd chosen if I had a girl, and seemed to suit her perfectly. She was blind when she was born. I knew she couldn't yet see me, but she recognized my voice. She was comforted by my smell. It was a week before her sight came.
That doesn't happen to human babies.
Yeah, it's the same. Human baby are not too blind, but after 6 months, I think we all only we can only see a kind of shadow or
Really?
shapes. Yes, they
Because
they
I
follow.
thought that
They
the site. I thought that maybe I'm okay. I don't know. I thought that site was, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Okay, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you know better than me. Do you know that for a fact, or is that something that you observed that your kids had they couldn't really focus on anything until later?
the first time when you are going to be father, I used
Mhm.
to read I used to read many books, and I read that, but
Oh yeah.
even I check it. Okay, I saw it's true. They they recognize your voice and your smell. I think is really very important because when they are in a room
Mhm.
with many people, they used to be nervous
Right.
because they can't recognize his mother's smell or his. their mother smell or their father smell. It's interesting
And how do they recognize your voice? How do they know it's you?
because they turn his neck, his face toward you.
Oh, so that, I mean, yeah, that's how you know that they recognize. But I'm saying, how do they know it's your voice? How do they know?
Because I think it's in his brain.
So you're
Reaction.
you're born knowing the voice. It seems like a
No, yeah, okay. At the beginning, only maybe for smell,
Mhm. So
but
they learn to recognize the voice.
maybe if you are talking to him or her
Uh-huh.
all day, maybe in a week, they used to recognize your your voice. But maybe the first it's from smell.
Right.
Yes,
There you go. Kind of like a fox.
like animal. We are animal.
It's easy to forget that, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. In the next section here, ending part 2. They called an ambulance to take me home at 3 in the morning. It was a clear, crisp winter's night. The driver put on sirens and raced through the dark streets screaming. Ah, the sirens, that sounds a lot like the blood-curdling scream from earlier. I had to cover my daughter's ears. She has trembled. She has trembled. That's weird. She has trembled. I wonder why it's in the present. I had to cover my daughter's ears. She has trembled whenever she's heard a siren. Oh, that she's talking about today. Sorry. She has trembled whenever she's heard a siren ever since. When we arrived at my house in the dark, one of the men carried my overnight bag along the path and left it at my wooden front door. "You'll be all right from here," he said, peering at my daughter, who was wrapped in her very first baby blanket. "Fine," I said, breathing in the fresh night air. I saw him give the driver an odd look, and then they left, driving the ambulance slowly up my street and off. The moon shone still. The stars sparkled and fizzed in the sky. It wasn't what I'd imagined, arriving home from the hospital in the dark. Yet, I couldn't contain my excitement, carrying her soft, warm shape over my doorstep and into my home. And that is the end of part 2. So, what do you think about, how do you think she feels the way the other humans are reacting? Because you've got the hospital staff, the midwife, and now the ambulance driver.
She's upset because hospital staff don't treat his fox baby like others babies.
Yeah, she doesn't really comment on it, a little bit in the beginning. But the fact that she notices, so it's not really talked about, which is interesting. She mentions the observation, the narrator mentions it, but doesn't really comment on it. So we, I think the reader, are left to feel what she's feeling. That's my take on why it said that. She doesn't say, "Those ambulance drivers, what jerks." She just notices that they give an odd look at each other, and then that's it. So I think it's an interesting way that it's been written so that we feel it. All right, let's go on. Let's see if we can do. Let me see how long part 3 is here. Oh, part 3 is really short. Part 4. Oh, part 3 and 4 are very, very short. Okay, let's see if we can do those in today's class, and then we'll see what kind of shape we're in for Thursday. So, take it away, part 3, Daniel.
Okay. When I first placed her gently in her little crib that had been sitting empty for months, I got so much pleasure. Day after endless day, as my big tight round belly got bigger and tighter, I'd stared in that crib hardly able to believe I'd ever have a baby to put in it. And now, at last, I did. I laid her down and covered her with the baby blanket. Then I got into bed myself. I rocked the crib with my foot. I was exhausted, so bone tired. I hardly knew if I really existed or not. Not more than half an hour passed before she started to whine and cry. I brought her into bed with me and she's never been in the crib since. She needs me. Why fight about these things? Life is too short. I know her life will be shorter than mine will. That's the hardest thing about being the mother of a fox. The second hardest thing is not having anyone around who has had the same experience. I would so love to swap notes on the color of her
S word.
s. Sometimes it seems a worrying greenish color.
There was a there was a comedy routine by the late Robin Williams where he talks about having his first kids. This was a long time ago when I was a kid. I remember the comedy routine. And he said the first time he had to change the diaper, something like, he said, "Oh my God, this S word is green." So she's having the same experience as Robin Williams. She's worried about the color.
Okay.
In the next section, I'll take that. By the way, if anyone else out there wants to read, come on into class. Plenty of room. All you viewers out there, come on in. Don't be afraid of Daniel.
Don't
He
be
won't hurt
shy.
you. Don't be shy.
I feel almost alone. I need at least two classmates, please.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, can't make them come in. I'll never forget the look on my mother's face when she first arrived with flowers and baby grows and teddy bears. Can you picture her mother's face?
Yes.
She comes up with teddy bears and things are not what she expected. I told her on the phone that the birth had been fine and that my daughter weighed 3 pounds, which was true. Won't she be needing an incubator being that small? She asked, worried. No, I said. They think she's fine. I hadn't said any more, and my mother wasn't good on the phone. I opened the front door and she said, "Where is she? Where is she?" Her eyes wild with excitement. My daughter is my mother's first grandchild. I said, "Shh, she's sleeping. Just have a wee peek." I felt convinced that as soon as she saw her, it wouldn't matter, and she would love her like I did. What do you think's going to happen,
I don't
Daniel?
know. I don't know.
All right, Daniel, let's find out. Go
A
for it.
grandmother is not a mother. Baby is not so blind as as her as her daughter.
Let's find out what happens, Daniel. Go for it.
How could anybody not see Anya's beauty? She had lovely dark red fur, thick and vivid, alive. She was whiter under her throat. At the end of her long, bush, bushy,
Bushy.
bushy tail, she had a perfect white tail tip. Her tail was practically a third of the length of her body. On her legs were white stockings. She was shy, sadly nervous of strangers, secretive, and highly intelligent. She moved with such hau-
Haughty. Haughty.
haughty haughty grace and elegance that at times she appeared feline. From the minute from the minute I gave birth to my daughter the fox, I could see that no other baby could be more beautiful. I hope my mother could see her the same way.
I can get a definition there for haughty. 1 second.
Haughty.
Haughty. There we go. Someone who is haughty is arrogant and full of pride. I'll put that link there for you. She moved with such haughty grace and elegance that at times she appeared feline. How could you not see Anya's beauty? Daniel, her fur is so lovely dark and thick. How could you not see her beauty? What's wrong with the grandmother? What's wrong with her?
What's wrong with the mother? No, with the grandmother.
Oh, right. Okay. We tiptoed into my bed when I was sleeping in a crib for her daytime nap. My mother was already saying, "Aw," as she approached the crib. She looked in and went white as a sheet and then gripped my arm. "What's going on?" she whispered. Her voice was just about giving out. "Is this some kind of a joke?" It was the same look on people's faces when I took Anya out in her pram. I'd bought a great big Silver Cross pram with a navy hood. I always kept the hood up to keep the sun or rain out. People could never resist sneaking a look at a baby in a pram. I doubt that many had ever seen daughters like mine before. One old friend, shocked and fumbling for something to say, said, "She looks so like you." I glowed with pride. "Do you think so?" I said, squeaking with pleasure. She did look beautiful, my daughter in her Silver Cross pram, the white of her blanket against the red of her cheeks. I always made her wear a nappy when I took her out in the pram, though she loathed nappies. What's a pram? Do you know? What do you think a pram is?
Where is the word?
Well, we've got a bunch of words for babies here. Crib is one, and then pram over here.
Pram.
Yeah. So what do you think that is, before I tell you?
A kind of
Up.
knuckle.
Let me
Ah,
see a picture.
okay.
You can already see a picture,
Yeah.
so we'll put it on. So we can say pram, but in American English, I guess we tend to say stroller, a baby stroller. But it's one of those big ones. And a nappy. I made her wear a
Yes,
nappy.
nappy. The way to fight against peace and no,
The way to what?
the way to fight against peace or sit. Maybe sit. No.
Except we can't say those words in this class
Okay.
because we're broadcasting live on YouTube.
Sorry, people.
Oh, what's wrong with my website? Let's see.
I'm tired to buy so many nappies.
Yeah, it's a whole industry out there just to rob you. They should be free. They're expensive, right?
People ask me, what can I give your new baby? And I said, you give them money for buy nappies.
There you go. By the way, nappy is also diaper. So in American English, we'd say diaper, because maybe not everyone will know what you mean. Nappy is British English.
British. Okay.
So we've got pram, which is stroller, like this, in the chat window, and nappy, which is diaper, and crib. So we've got three baby words: crib, nappy, pram. It hurt me that her father never came to see her, never took the slightest bit of interest in her. When I told him that on the stroke of midnight I'd given birth to a baby fox, he actually denied being her father. Imagine. He thought I was lying. that I'd done something with our real daughter and got Anya in her place. I always thought you were off your effing rocker. This proves it. You're barking. Well, in English, if you're crazy, we say you're barking mad.
Whoa.
But here he just says you're barking.
Mhm.
So to say you're crazy, you're barking mad. It's an expression.
Ah.
Idiom. Whoops. Idiom.
It's the
Barking.
same in English, o sea, in Spanish.
Barking mad. Howling like a dog.
Stop barking when someone is yelling you or.
But here it means not mad angry. It means mad crazy.
Ah.
Barking mad. Because there's this old idea that people who are crazy are affected by the moon, like an animal, howling at the moon, barking at the moon. So, if you're barking mad, you're a lunatic. Lunatic from Luna, which is moon.
Yeah.
So it's an expression, but here it's ironic. You're barking because she has a kind of a dog for a daughter, so it's kind of ironic. He screamed down the phone. He wouldn't pay a penny towards her keep. I should have him DNA tested, but I didn't want to put myself through it. Nobody was sympathetic to me, as I thought they might be. It never occurred to me to dump Anya or disown her or pretend that she hadn't come from me. So the mother's having a difficult time. Well, part 4 is very short. Let's see if we can do part 4, and I think that'll be the end of the class for today. So take it away, Daniel.
Okay. But when the baby stage passed, everything changed. My daughter didn't like being carried around in the pouch, pushed in the pram or sat in her high chair. She didn't like staying in my one-bedroom ground floor flat in Tottenham either. She was constantly sitting by the front door waiting for me to open it to take her out to Clissold Park, or Finsbury Park, or Downhills Park. But I had to be careful during the day. Once a little child came running up to us with an ice cream in her hand, and I stroked the little girl's hair. Anya was so jealous. She growled at her and actually bared her teeth.
Oh my God. I hate it when your daughter does that, right?
Yes.
All right, keep going, Daniel.
Soon she didn't want me to be close to anyone else. I had to call friends up before they came around to tell them, for God's sake, not to hug me in front of Anya or she could go for them. Sid went for my old friend, Adam. The night he raised his arm to embrace me as he came in our front door, Anya rushed straight along the hall and knocked him right over. She had him on his back with her mouth snarling over his face. Adam was so shaken up, I had to pour him a malt.
Malt is whiskey, by the way.
Ah, malt. Okay.
Yeah.
He drank it net and left.
Neat means with no ice, straight out of the bottle.
He drank it neat and left. I haven't seen or heard of him since. Friends could use these incidents to argue with me. You can't keep her here forever, they said. You shouldn't be in a city for a start. You had to release her. They couldn't imagine how absurd they sounded to me.
Release her. But where did she come from? If you're going to release her, that means that she came from the wild, but she didn't come from the wild. Let's say hello to Mulham, who's just joining us right now. Hello, Mulham.
Hello guys, hi John.
Mulham, you're 55 minutes late.
Yeah, not that late. I forgot about the class, but then because you have like 2 days without any class, yeah, I was
2 days? No, one day. One day.
I haven't used the verbally. I think for 2 days because you had no classes at all. So
One day. One day, just yesterday.
mm,
Yesterday I wasn't here. The weekends I don't teach on Verbling.
okay.
But Monday through Friday I do. But yesterday I had to substitute someone, so I had to take a class. I had to cancel. Listen, Mulham, let's do this. Read parts 1 to 4. It's actually quite short. It's only, I don't know, I think it's 4 pages or less. Read parts 1 to 4 on your own, okay?
Okay.
Not now, of course, because we're out of time, but for Thursday. And we're kind of in the middle of the story where things are about to change, actually. And let me just take a look. 5, 6, 7. The rest of it is so short we can read it together on Thursday, and we should even have time to talk about everything. Because it's just a short story made up of little one-page sections. Okay?
Okay, it's great.
Did you start with us last Thursday? Did you read the beginning?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay.
When you have like this story, you have taken 2 classes with these stories. With this story.
This is the second class.
Okay.
So we're going to do one more, but we're only at the halfway mark right now. So plenty of time to catch up. And there's a set of questions after part 2. You could think about them. You could think about them, or you could write the answers if you want. We talked about them already. Maybe I can add a few more questions to help you think about parts 3 and 4 as well later today. All right? Sound good?
Yeah,
Hopefully?
great. Yeah, of course.
All
Great.
right. And Daniel has been giving us lessons on fatherhood. What's that? Daniel's been teaching us what it's like to have kids. Thank you, Daniel. I took notes. I now know what to, I now know. I don't need to read the books. I now know what to do.
You hand me.
And my microphone doesn't work, so I'm just going to leave it flopping around like this, like a Martian. I'll leave it there. All right. I'm going to start the business class. I'll be back in 30 seconds or so for that, so stick around. We're starting a brand new unit on facts and figures.
Okay.
All right? Very useful unit, by the way, so come back for that.
Okay.
Bye for now, everyone.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
See you.